YouTube, Meta, Unilever, Mars, Coca-Cola, Disney. These are some of the over 100 companies that Elon Musk is suing at once. That's right, the real-life Iron Man is filing a lawsuit against some of the world's largest companies, all represented by a single entity called GRM. Together, these companies control about 90% of the money invested in online advertising, and they are now the target of a controversial lawsuit that could change the future of online advertising globally. In this video, you will understand what's happening and why Elon Musk decided to pick a fight with such major companies. Elon Musk, one of the world's richest men, has built a multi-billion-dollar fortune through innovations in various markets. By breaking paradigms that have transformed industries like online payments, energy, mobility, and space engineering. These are just a few sectors where the billionaire introduced innovations and altered the existing dynamics, or even created a new reality. Since acquiring Twitter, Musk has been working on a plan that aims to challenge everything we know about social networks, and even how these networks generate revenue. Since taking over the platform, the billionaire has not only changed the network's name to X, but has also completely altered its dynamics under the banner of being the new public square for debates on the internet, with freedom of speech as its guiding principle. The problem is that since he made this stance explicit, a strong backlash has been created by various stakeholders of the social network. That is, those who are part of the business ecosystem, such as users, content creators, and advertisers. This tripod is directly responsible for the network's existence. After all, without content, there are no users, and without circulating money, there is no way for a network to sustain itself. Social networks have some revenue mechanisms, but the main engine is advertisers who flood the networks with their ads. At the end of the day, social networks today are huge advertising spaces, with Meta, for example, being the second largest player in the online advertising market, only behind Google and its ventures like YouTube, which is also a social network. Ads are designed to reach potential consumers, and there is an expectation of a return on the capital invested through the sale of products or services. If there is traffic, there is money circulating. Thus, the more users, the more advertisers are expected to be willing to invest money, which in turn increases the cost of advertising, much like an auction. This dynamic has sustained social networks since the internet's inception. However, one case has become an exception to the rule: X. Since Elon Musk bought Twitter, the platform has been viewed as an enemy by parts of the media and several advertisers who disagreed with the billionaire's stance, which in theory would allow space for the propagation of ideas of all kinds, including those that are more controversial or considered harmful by these groups. Even with protests and criticism, since becoming X, the network has continued to have considerable traffic and a strong flow of content, similar to when it was Twitter and had no relation to Musk. This has shown in practice that despite the noise, the day-to-day of the platform hasn't changed much, and those who were heavily critical continued posting there. The problem is that even with good user numbers, a group of over 100 of the world's largest companies decided to no longer run ads on the platform. That's right, despite the space and potential consumers present there. These companies decided not to advertise in a space they considered toxic. This action was not officially announced by any of the companies, but by a single entity representing their interests called GRM. GRM is an acronym for Global Alliance for Responsible Media, a non-profit entity created in 2019. It acts as a representative of companies like Nike, McDonald's, Unilever, Coca-Cola, CVS, Mars, Toyota, P&G, HSBC, and many others, with the aim of regulating social networks so that content deemed harmful is not propagated and does not have serious consequences in the physical world. Marketing agencies and other social networks like YouTube, TikTok, and Meta networks are also part of the association. The group was formed shortly after an attack on a mosque in Christchurch, New Zealand, and represents over 100 multinational companies. GRM is a subsidiary of the WFA, the World Federation of Advertisers. In GARM's view, its associated companies cannot be linked to content that promotes harmful or illegal activities. Because of this, the entity pressures social networks to increasingly regulate such activities. If they do not exercise this oversight, GRM promotes a boycott, pulling part, or all of the associated companies' ads from the social network in question. According to GRM, since the purchase of Twitter in 2022, the platform has promoted a space open to so-called hate speech and misinformation, 2 points that the association fights against. Therefore, it began a boycott, pulling all its ads from Twitter, and has stated that it would only return to the platform if Musk agreed to comply with the association's guidelines. The offensive caused about a 50% drop in the platform's revenue, and even with the loss, Elon Musk decided he would not yield to GARM's demands. At the end of last year, he even publicly declared that he was being blackmailed by some of the former advertisers, and that they should go F*** themselves. At the time, he did not directly mention any company, but he did specifically name Disney's CEO, Bob Iger. Nevertheless, the message was clear, especially since Disney was one of GARM's associates. The situation further exposed the already existing conflict between Musk and the companies that maintained the boycott. After 2 years of negotiations and jabs, Musk announced earlier this month that he would no longer address the issue peacefully. As he posted on his profile on X, "We tried to be nice for 2 years and got nothing but empty words. Now it's war."
The post coincided with the filing of a lawsuit by X against GRM in Texas, the state where Musk's company is headquartered. According to X, GRM acts like a cartel by imposing boycotts on behalf of over 100 companies, pressuring not only the social network but also setting a standard for the entire market. The alleged cartelization of ads is an anti-competitive behavior, which would constitute a violation of the Sherman Act, the U.S. antitrust law. The problem becomes even bigger because GRM is an association that jointly represents the interests of advertisers and competing platforms like Meta, YouTube, and ByteDance, the owner of TikTok. This also raises the allegation of collusion between advertisers and competitors against X and other social networks that are not part of the group, reinforcing anti-competitive practices. Furthermore, there is an accusation that GARM's conduct is also a way to restrict Americans' freedom of speech on social networks, which goes against the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. It wasn't just X that turned to the courts against GRM and its associates. The video platform Rumble, currently YouTube's main competitor and gaining ground under the same banner of free speech, is also suing the association. The allegations by X and Rumble are also backed by the Judiciary Committee of the U.S. House of Representatives, which is investigating GARM's conduct and that of other partners in the association, such as the WPP Group, along with its media arm, Group M. To top it off, according to Musk, the way GRM operates is practically extortion of some social networks and their owners, which would make it a kind of mafia, potentially qualifying as a crime under the U.S. RICO law that deals with such crimes. A few days after Musk's lawsuit, GRM announced that it was shutting down its activities. The reason, according to GRM, was that it was a non-profit organization with limited resources. Even so, the lawsuit continues, and the association, as well as its parent organization WFA, stated that they would defend themselves against the accusations. In addition to GRM, some of the participating companies are also named individually in the lawsuit and may face consequences. According to WFA, just as the First Amendment protects free speech, it also protects companies' rights to choose whether or not to advertise on social networks, arguing that it is a matter of freedom. This view is also endorsed by some legal experts who spoke to the world's leading media outlets, stating that the accusation has no legal basis and that the decision to advertise or not is merely up to the advertisers. What do you think? Do you agree with Musk or with the advertiser's stance? So far, some see GARM's dissolution as a victory for Elon Musk, but it remains to be seen what the practical outcome will be. For now, X is still struggling to find a way to cover its expenses. In recent months, the platform's revenue has dropped even further, and the trend is that in the coming months there will be another significant decline since the platform will officially leave Brazil, its fifth largest market with over 22 million active users. For critics of GRM and its modus operandi, Elon Musk's stance could represent a complete change in the digital advertising market, as GRM acted as a pressure factor in the market, with even companies not part of the association following its parameters when deciding whether or not to advertise on a platform. Moreover, the dissolution could give autonomy for each company previously associated with GRM to decide individually whether to advertise or not, as there is speculation that most of GRM's companies may have been preventing one or more of its members from acting differently from the rest of the collective. In any case, the next few months will reveal who is right in this controversy and whether Elon Musk's stance will be capable of changing the digital advertising market and the dynamics of so-called freedom of speech, not just on X but also on other social networks. What do you think? Is there another revolution coming? Share your opinion with us in the comments.